We Christians, by truth seeker. Let me confess something up front. I'm weak. I know this because I've been told, repeatedly, by people on the internet, by people at work, by a guy in a comment section who typed it in all caps at 2:40 in the morning. Christians are weak. We're a psychiatric case study. We believe in an invisible man in the sky. We need a crutch. We can't handle reality, so we invented a bedtime story and called it a religion. So yes, I'm weak, and I'd like to describe, in detail, exactly how weak I am. So weak that I sleep. I'm so weak that I go to bed and fall asleep. Not the kind of sleep you get after doom scrolling until your eyes burn. 3 hours of catastrophe headlines followed by a night of staring at the ceiling wondering if the economy, the climate, the algorithm, or the guy running for office is going to eat you alive. Actual sleep, the unglamorous kind. I put my head down and the world keeps spinning without my supervision, and somehow it manages. This is apparently a symptom of mental illness. The people diagnosing me are on their 4th energy drink and 2nd panic attack of the week, but they've read a lot of threads, so I trust their clinical judgment. So weak that I know what I am. I'm so weak that I know what a man is and what a woman is. I didn't have to attend a seminar. I didn't need a corporate training module, a flowchart, or a new vocabulary that gets revised every 18 months like a phone operating system. I looked at the world, and the world was already telling me. Male and female. Not a social construct that showed up on Tuesday. The oldest observable fact in the human record, written into every body that has ever existed. I'm so weak that I think truth is a thing you find, not a thing you feel. So weak that I don't believe reality takes a vote. So weak that when someone tells me my truth, I hear a category error the size of a house. The strong, meanwhile, are the ones who need everyone else's agreement to feel real. They need the language policed, the dissenters silenced, the definitions rewritten by committee. Nothing says inner strength like requiring the entire planet to affirm you or you'll come apart. Yes, I'm the weak one, obviously. So weak that I told the truth. I'm so weak that I say what I actually think and out loud. There's no strategy to it, no brand management. I don't run my convictions through a filter to see which ones will cost me and which ones will get me applauded. Someone asks me a question, I answer it. Someone catches me in a mistake, I own it. I hand back the extra change. I show up when I said I'd show up. I'm told this is because I'm afraid of hell. Maybe. Or maybe I've just noticed that a life spent keeping track of your own lies is exhausting, and I don't have the energy for it. Ask anyone maintaining 3 versions of themselves across 4 platforms how restful that is. So weak that I stayed. I'm so weak that I'm still married. I'm so weak that when it got hard, and it got hard, didn't leave. I'm so weak that I know my kids' teachers' names. So weak that we eat dinner at a table. So weak that there are rules in my house and consequences and apologies and forgiveness and a standard that doesn't move depending on how anybody feels that morning. Sociologists write papers about why families like mine hold together. They propose theories. They control for variables. They very carefully avoid the obvious one, which is that we're all bowing to something bigger than our own preferences, and preferences turn out to be a poor foundation for a household. But sure, fairy tale. So weak that the news can't move me. I'm so weak that I watched the world catch fire and didn't panic. Not because I'm stupid, and not because I don't care. I read. I pay attention. I vote. I know what's happening. I just don't believe the anchor on my screen is the final authority on whether the universe is going to hold. There's a machine out there engineered to keep you afraid, because afraid people click, and clicking is the business model. Every hour, a fresh emergency. Every day, a new reason to be certain everything's ending. And the people who tell me I've been brainwashed have submitted to that feed for 6 hours a day, every day for years, and would sooner give up a kidney than their phone. I'm so weak that I turned it off and went outside. So weak that I've got peace. Here's the part that really seems to bother people. There's a piece that doesn't add up. It doesn't correlate with your bank balance or your diagnosis or how your week went. It shows up in hospital rooms. It shows up at funerals. It shows up in people who by every metric ought to be falling apart, and somehow aren't. It surpasses understanding, which is a polite way of saying it makes no sense on paper. I can't manufacture it. I've tried. It comes from one place, and the place is the settled knowledge that I am not the one holding this together. I never was. That's not a crutch. A crutch is what you use when your leg is broken and you're pretending it isn't. This is the opposite. This is admitting I was never strong enough to carry the weight of the world, and then discovering I was never asked to. So weak that I came up out of the bottom. Now let me drop the sarcasm for a second, because this is the part that matters. Go find the people in any church who are the most convinced. Not the polite ones, not the ones who inherited it, the ones with fire in them. Ask them where they came from. You'll hear about needles, bottles, prison, a father who left, or worse, one who stayed and was cruel. You'll hear about foster homes and hotel rooms and a stretch of years they can barely narrate. You'll hear about a night on a bathroom floor when someone with nothing left, who'd been told their whole life that God was a fable for the simple-minded, cried out anyway to a thing they didn't believe in because there was nothing else left to try. And something answered. They'll tell you the date. They'll tell you they haven't touched it since. They'll tell you about the wife who came back, the kids who talked to them again, the job, the years. You can call it a coping mechanism if you want, but you're going to have to explain to a man who used to sleep under a bridge and now owns a business and sits in the front row every Sunday that his rescue was actually a delusion. And I'd like to be there when you try. That's the thing about the weak. We know we were weak. That was never in dispute. We're the ones who admitted it out loud, and that admission was the door. The people calling us weak are the ones white-knuckling it, medicated and exhausted and terrified, insisting they've got it under control. One of us is faking, and it isn't me. Truth seeker.